I'm Kobi Samboursky. Let's go back to English. Kobi Samboursky, co-founder and managing partner with Glilot Capital. We are a VC fund, so we invest in young software companies. So if you have a great idea about software, give me a call. That's our business. I'm not going to talk about tomatoes. I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence. Yeah, it's a little bit more boring than tomatoes, and I guess there are not too many computer geeks in the room, but I think there could be some interest in that as well. So let's start with the formal definition of AI, right? You can read it by yourself, but the main idea is computers or machines that can do things that otherwise a man is supposed to do it, right? So we'll advance more in time, and we'll see that this description is a little bit out of date, but that's the start. That's the starting point. So let's go back. We're 2016. Let's go back 70 years, 1946. The first general-purpose electronic computer. It was called the ENIAC. Back then, people dubbed it the big brain. Now, everyone in our pockets, we have machines that are much, much stronger than the ENIAC. But back then, imagine a big machine, lots of stuff going on, lots of flights and so forth, and the ability to solve big mathematical problems. Again, 70 years from now, not so long if you think about it. Stepping ahead another 10 years, 1956, a big conference that started to deal with AI, artificial intelligence. It was the first time ever that the term itself was created, and people back then started to talk about machines that can learn. That's an interesting concept about machines that can prove themselves and so forth and so forth. Now, most of us, when we think about AI, we imagine robots. We imagine robots that look like us and talk like us and walk like us and whatever, and have all this brain power within something that looks like a person. So this is the first, the first robot that started to look like it. It was called the Shaky. This is another 10 years after, 1966 or so. So it was a robot that could actually move. It has some sensors. It was doing stuff. And the cool thing about it, it started to be a little bit autonomous. So you didn't have to specifically tell it to move 5 centimeters ahead or whatever. You could give it like a general description of what it needs to do, and it would start doing it. And that's, I think, a very interesting concept and a very important piece of AI is turning computers from machines that can help us to machines that can do things on their own and become more and more autonomous, which is a very big leap. And I think the most important maybe thing that is happening in our time is autonomous cars. It was one of the previous speakers talked about it a little bit. But that's, I think, a very big revolution that is happening right now. So, looking forward, I'm pretty sure that your kids or grandkids, whatever, will not even believe that you have been, that you needed to drive yourself, your car to work or to school or whatever. This is something that is happening right now. I don't know how often you are traveling to California, but I'm there every once in a while. And today, when you're driving down El Camino Real or one of the other streets in the Bay Area, you might as well bump into a car that's driving itself. Just recently, a car that was created by Google got in a car accident with a normal bus. Make a long story short, the car wanted to take a right turn. The lane was blocked by something. It needed to take a left to move to the left lane, and something in the software went wrong, and there was a car accident. The first time that a car without a driver got a traffic ticket. Imagine the policeman stopping the car and seeing that there's no one there. So again, when we live in those type of things, we tend to think this is very futuristic, right? But those are the testimonials from people about when this is going to happen. So Elon Musk from Tesla, I don't know if you know him, very well-known entrepreneur. He is talking about having a complete autonomous car being sold just 2 years from now, 2018. Right? The guys from Baidu talk about a year later. Toyota and Ford talking about 220. And you know what? It's not really important for this discussion if it's going to be 220 or 225. The reality is that it's going to happen very soon in our lifetime. The guys at IEEE talk about 75% of the cars driving themselves only in 2040, right? So think about it the other way around. Only 25% of the cars will be driven by humans, right? So again, next generation will probably, if they want to get somewhere, they'll take out their smartphones, or maybe it will be embedded in their brains, who knows. They'll press an app, they'll press a button, and the car without a driver will come to pick them up. And this is happening right now. Another thing that is happening right now, and is something that we'll see more and more, is autonomous drones or autonomous aircrafts. We're here in Israel, and Israel was very, very good at unmanned aircrafts. The Israeli army is using them a lot, and there's a lot of innovation in this field as well. I'm sure you know the big wars that are being fought today, lots of the power that is being used by aircrafts and so forth is actually done by aircrafts that don't have humans. Still today, most of them are being controlled by someone back there in the office controlling the aircraft, but it's going to be more and more autonomous as we go. There are a lot of moral issues related to that. So imagine a machine that kills a man somewhere in the world. So there's a whole big discussion about morality and stuff like that. We don't have the time to get into it right now, but it's definitely a very interesting discussion to make. Now, we computer geeks, when we think about AI, we tend to think about competition between man and machine, and typically translated for, again, computer geeks to, let's try to write a code that can beat a man in a certain game, right? And probably the more famous case is the case of Deep Blue. This was a computer software designed and created by IBM, and its only purpose was to be able to play chess and play it good. I don't know how much, you're probably too young to remember, but this guy is Garry Kasparov. He used to be the very well-known chess champion. 1996, it was the first time ever that Deep Blue or any machine was able to beat the world champion of chess in the game of chess. So this is a very, very big milestone in this AI field. But not just IBM and not just chess. Just recently, I don't know if you've seen it on the news, Google announced that their software was able to achieve victory over a human champion in the game of Go. It's an ancient game. And so again, we see that computers cannot just be like men or do things that men do, but they can certainly do things better. So why now? I was a computer student around 20 years ago, and already back then we learned a lot about AI and about self-learning machines and stuff like that. What is making this year or now, our time, what does it make it so important, and why is so much innovation happening right now? I would say that there are three things that are happening right now that make our time so unique with regards to artificial intelligence. The first is the sheer amount of computer power. We spoke about the ENIAC, right? But now every one of us has so much access to compute power, much more than any other generation. It's actually estimated that in 20 years or so, 30 years, compute power, artificial compute power, worldwide is going to be around 1 billion times more than the total brain power of all humanity together. So think about it. I'll say it again. It's not 10 times more, it's not 20 times more, it's not 100 times more. 1 billion times more, right? So if you take this compute power, even if it's not really used so effectively and lots of it is being wasted on stuff that is not really important, it's just so much more than our entire, the accumulated brain power of all of us. So think about the sheer capacity of the size. But not just the size, it's also very, very accessible, much more accessible than it used to be 20 or 30 years ago. So 20, 30, 40 years ago, there was the compute power that was around, most of it was controlled by governments or big institutions, big universities, et cetera, et cetera. Today it's different. Lots of us have huge compute power in our pockets. We have clouds and other phenomena that makes lots of compute power being accessible to us very easily and quite cheaply. So it's a lot of compute power with great access to everyone. But it's not just that, it's the internet. And we all know the internet, and we talk about the internet as a great source for communication and as a great tool to, to talk with friends and to share knowledge. But if you think of the internet as one single machine that connects all this compute power into one machine that can work together alongside one machine alongside each other, that makes it a very, very powerful thing. So again, even if it's not used in the entire capacity, even if it's used just a few percentage out of its potential capacity, it's a very, very strong thing when it's all tied together. Then the last thing, so we spoke about the compute power, it's all being tied together and accessible. The last thing that makes the years that we live in right now so powerful in terms of artificial intelligence is the advance and the accessibility of machine learning. And to tell the story of machine learning, I'm going to say some words about Watson. I know how many of you guys know about Watson. Yeah. So Watson is a software created again by IBM. And originally the main reason to create it was to be able to prove that machines could beat men in the game of Jeopardy. Again, computer geeks wanting, to prove that they can create software that beats men at the game. So Jeopardy is a very well-known quiz game that, if you're watching international TV, you may have watched it. It's a little bit more tricky for computer geeks or for computer developers to develop because it's not based on mathematics or certain logic like chess or like Go. It's actually endless. You need to know many things, different things. You need to understand natural language. So there's a whole lot of things that makes it much more complicated for a machine. So they have actually created a machine that could learn by itself stuff. So you don't code anything specifically in the software. The only thing that it knows how to do is to learn new things. So they coded this machine. Then they started to dump information on it. So dictionaries, encyclopedias, whatever. And at some point, 2011, for the first time, it was able to actually, do this miracle and to beat champions in this game of Jeopardy. But then what IBM decided to do is to take it another step forward. It decided actually to turn Watson into an open platform for any type of learning and to give access to this platform to almost everyone. So what it means is that if you are a startup and you want to develop a software that will be great in marketing or that will be great in whatever, healthcare or whatever, you just need to get access to Watson, to dump all the information you're interested in into Watson, and then you have this great platform that you can use that maybe is going to be the best PhD doctor or the best lawyer or the best marketing person or whatever. So if we combine those three things, huge amount of compute power, all access through the internet and being very available for everyone, and great layer of software that you can actually use to teach it to do new things, all those three things together combine the perfect storm for a lot of development in AI. So going back to the Oxford definition of artificial intelligence, computers that can do stuff that men do, that's easy, right? Computers that can be better than men, yeah, that's easy also. Are computers going to replace us? Well, the sad or not sad, whatever your point of view is, the sad reality is that, at least my view, definitely yes. So we definitely see a trend of computers or machines doing more and more jobs that typically men would do. And we just mentioned autonomous driving. So drivers, I don't know how many professional drivers will be around in 20 years. Pilots, probably the same. But it's even tasks that are much more sophisticated, right? I used to program code when I was younger. I think that big part of, at some point, lots of code is going to be generated by machines and so forth and so forth. So yes, definitely, at least a big part of the jobs will be replaced by machines. I don't know if you've seen this. This is a very nice clip to look. This is a robot that was created by a company that is owned by Google. Going back to talking about robots, this robot actually looks very much like a man. Here we see that it can do like basic jobs that people would do. So this, and remember, this is not just a clip. This is a real robot that really has been developed, and it's doing stuff that it's configured to do. When this was published, there are a lot of people, accusing Boston Dynamics of, harassing robots. So far, the robot is not. What's your name? Oh, so Or said, until he's going to beat him, fight back. So yeah, so at least so far, they are not fighting back, but yet, it may happen at some point. So I think this is a very interesting closing point. Where is this heading? One may start a discussion about, robots turning against us. Okay, they are better than us. They have all this brain power. They have all those capabilities. At some point, maybe they'll turn against us and do something against us. But I would suggest to you a more optimistic view of the future. I believe that we, as humankind, have capabilities that robots will never have, or that AI will, well, I don't want to say never, at least for the foreseeable future will not have. We're much more innovative, we're much more creative. We can invent things, invent new companies or new ideas, or et cetera, et cetera. And I would urge you to think about the future as a future of the joint power of machine and man. So imagine a few ideas. Imagine cyborgs, which is the idea of enhancing ourselves with technologies that can help us be better, right? Imagine the concept of mind uploading, which is about uploading ourselves to the cloud or to a computing platform so we could live forever, or we could improve our souls, but it's still within ourselves and not something else. So that's the future I would urge you to embrace, a future of joint man and machine, both helping each other to create a world that is better. Thank you very much.